Oliver Glasner has had dinner with Chairman Steve Parish this week after his comments following last weekend's defeat, from which he makes 3 changes. Goalkeeper Dean Henderson is the new Palace captain after the departure of Mark Gay. In defence, JD Convo comes in to replace Gay and has a big gap to fill. Jefferson Lerma moves forward into his natural midfield role. Daniel Munoz also makes a welcome return, having missed nearly 2 months of action due to a knee injury. Ismaila Sarr returns to Palace after 9 games away. He won AFCON with Senegal a week ago. Yeremy Pino drops to the bench. So after not making a substitute at Sunderland due to a lack of options, according to Glasner, things looked a little bit stronger today, with Pino adding potential sparkle later on. Liam Rosenior has won 3 of his first 4 games in charge, with the only slip in the League Cup defeat to Arsenal. Robert Sanchez was left on the bench for the Champions League on Wednesday, but came on at half-time after Philip Jorgensen's injury. Benoit Badiashile comes into defence to replace the injured Tosin Adarabioyo, who has a hamstring problem. Andre Santos is brought in and is well known to Rosenior after his loan at Strasbourg. It's his first league start under the new head coach. Cole Palmer is still out with a thigh problem, so there's a bit of musical chairs playing off the front, with Estevão returning, having struggled with illness over the last week. Chelsea's top Premier League scorer João Pedro keeps his place up front and is now only 3 goals short of his best ever top-flight goal return. Teddy Sharman-Lowe is among the Chelsea subs as the next goalkeeper in line. He spent the first half of the season on loan at Bolton Wanderers in England's 3rd tier. Down the table, while Chelsea are still fighting across every competition that they entered at the start of this season. A win here will see them re-enter the Premier League's top 5 this weekend. One of the more unique Premier League stadia. A tunnel for the home side, standing out in the fresh wintry air for visitors Chelsea, just to the left as we look here. It is a bitterly cold day. The officials waiting for the signal. And a fist pump there for the assistant referee Scott Ledger, who's getting himself psyched up for this one. Chelsea with back-to-back clean sheets in the Champions League and against Brentford last week. How will they fare here at Selhurst, where Palace have won just twice so far this season, and it hasn't been the often mentioned tough place to go. A sea of colour and noise and heat here in South London that could really do with warming up after the couple of days we've had here. Stars everywhere you look on the field for this one, as Crystal Palace prepare to take on Chelsea. One of the early starts here in the Premier League this afternoon. Football is set to commence. Matt Holland, where do you think this leaves Glasner now? I think some of the Palace fans were maybe expecting him to part ways with the side this week, but it seems like everything has been smoothed over between he and the hierarchy.
He seemed to get a good reception there, didn't he, walking down the touchline. Apparently he's had positive talks with Chairman Steve Parish this week. So hopefully, from his perspective, he'll see it through to the end of the season and try and get Palace up the table.
Crystal Palace against Chelsea, just about ready to go here as the sun tries to burst through the clouds here in South London. Chelsea in their changed colours for this one. The blue and red, of course, for Crystal Palace, who really need a win. They haven't won since they were winners at Shelbourne in the Conference League back on the 11th of December. Their last Premier League win came before that, away to Fulham. They could do with more success against West London opposition here. South London against West London. One manager definitely heading out, one still getting their feet under the table. The hosts winless in 10 matches, with an uncertain period left in the transfer window, with rumours swirling around here. Chelsea looking to climb after just the 2nd win in 10 Premier League games last weekend against Brentford.
Afternoon, and yeah, what an interesting 10 or so days it has been at Crystal Palace. They lost their captain Mark Gahey to Manchester City. Oliver Glasner announced that he wouldn't be staying at the club beyond summer, and then there's been a lot of speculation about striker Jean-Philippe Mateta. Probably not the best preparation going into this one. I am delighted to say, though, that I'm joined by former Palace striker Glenn Murray. Glenn, firstly, what have you made of what's gone on this week?
Yeah, it's not been the ideal week, especially in preparation for this game. Listen, I don't think there's any surprise really that Mark left the football club. It was always a big possibility. And as for Oliver Glasner, again, everyone knew his contract situation. Maybe a little bit of a surprise in the manner that he was delivered. But I think there was probably a realisation that he was going to leave at the end of the season. And as far as Jean-Philippe Mateta is concerned, at the moment,